American in the October 7th, and I guess that counts. But all right, though, let's get over to CNN and let's see what they're talking about. And guys, let's not forget to double tap that screen and like the video. Appreciate the support, by the way. But let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen. Let's get to 100 likes because we're at 48. So let's go ahead and start double tapping that screen. And if you have any question, comments, jokes, disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud. Just go ahead and send in a super chat. Or if you just want to support the show, send in a gift just like Steph and my man Josh did. Appreciate the support, guys.
CNN has also learned that last week, the U.S. and Iran were closing in on a deal. But Trump's social media frenzy and media interviews hurt the negotiations. Some Trump officials privately acknowledged to CNN that Trump's public commentary has, in fact, been detrimental to these talks.
My sense is that the president doesn't have a clear idea of what he wants. He has a general idea. I think if I were chief negotiator for Iran, what I would do what the Iranians always do. I would just lie. Say, we're going to give up our nukes, take them, come, we'll arrange this, we'll negotiate the means, and we'll get this done. And then the reason being, the real nuclear weapon is the Strait of Hormuz. You don't have to go and mess around with A-bombs. You have a choke point where the Iranians have humbled the whole free enterprise system. They panicked everybody. Every American watching this program and walking the streets that has a car is looking at
and here's a problem, Trump administration and Pete Hegseth and Trump like to say that, they have no cards, we're completely decimating them. And we are. We're decimating them in Iran, bombing the shit out of them. But here's the problem, though. They're still able to project power over the Strait of Hormuz. And the problem with that is because Iran has these underground cities where they shoot rockets from inside of mountains. And they have straight access to the Strait of Hormuz. So passing through the Strait of Hormuz, you got a lot of problems. You got the mines, you got these damn kamikaze speedboats, you got the missiles, and you also got drones that you got to worry about. Those are four things you got to worry about that Iran can hit you with if you try to go through the Strait of Hormuz without their permission. And we have only solved maybe one of those problems, the mines.
Every day at the price of gasoline, and their lives are upended. This was a war that they had no idea was going to last this long. It's so messy. And no one knows really when it's going to end or whether the president will drag his heels and pull as much as he can, temporizing, ad hoc, improvise.
So, Horace, to Geraldo's point, there's been Reuters had an interesting story about European allies being afraid that an inexperienced U.S. negotiating team is pushing for a swift, headline-grabbing framework for Iran that would entrench rather than resolve deeper problems. The concern, according to the diplomats, is not that there won't be an agreement. It's that there will be a bad initial agreement that creates endless downstream problems. Another negotiator said, "It took us 12 years and immense technical work. Does anyone think that this can be done in 21 hours?"
I'm really surprised to hear that the chocolatiers of planet Earth are complaining about the leadership that is being shown in this effort. We now know that they had developed a missile capacity that actually could reach the greatest croissant and coffee bars in Europe. And yet, only America stepped in to act.
I was wondering where the chocolate.
Well, why would they want to get dragged into a regional war that, they don't agree with? Let's be real. A lot of people in Europe, a lot of these countries, they see this as an illegal war. So they don't want to get involved in that. And then also, who wants to get involved with war with Iran? Trump is asking them to open the strait. And they're looking at Trump like, bro, you can't even open the strait. What makes you think we can? Especially when he asked NATO, I was like, dog, we're NATO. You're basically asking us to open the strait, and we can't even do it. I thought guys, like MAGA, we were making this joke last year when we said, NATO's going to do something to us. What, so we're going to fight ourselves? Come on now.
Your thing came from. I was wondering if I missed that memo.
Well, look, as we've discussed before, that may be true. But it also begs the question, why didn't the Trump administration even bother to involve the Europeans in a decision to go into this war? But then secondly, on the issue of whether Trump just wants a headline, Is it a risk here that he might get a headline, but that the real work of verifying, removing nuclear materials, all of that gets left for someone else to deal with, or gets left for the indefinite future in which we're just going back and forth with the Iranians for years and years and years about how to actually make sure that this thing is verified?
Yeah, this gives new meaning to loose lips sink ships. I mean, literally, he is putting our safety at risk by not being disciplined. And what concerns me most of all is that as I'm moving around Georgia and talking to people, the affordability issue is still not being addressed.
Nope.
Gas prices.
Actually, it's been exacerbated. I mean, think about it. Inflation's up 2.4 up to 3.3%. Gas prices up. Everybody's been seeing a dollar increase in their gas. Most people are seeing a dollar increase in their gas. So, guys, I'm sorry, but it's really hard to sit here and defend Trump when these are all facts. And the fact that he said no new wars, especially with Iran. He even condemned Obama for even like considering the idea of it. So it's kind of crazy how we're all here now, and MAGA is persistent on supporting this war, even though it's proven to be a bad idea, and we haven't not got any of our goals done. And like I said, the people who are really paying for this war is us. They're asking for more money from the American people. They're asking us for more time while dealing with higher prices. It's like, bro, really? How do y'all expect me to defend this? I can't. Y'all ask me to defend the indefensible, and I'm talking to MAGA here. Yeah, and I love y'all, but y'all really asking me to defend the indefensible.
Are still going up across this nation, and there is a concept for planning.
Oh, before somebody says the idiotic argument of, but you're okay with Biden's inflation. No, Nick, bro, how dumb are you? On a scale from just stupid to retarded, how dumb are you? I'll answer for you. You're retarded. Why? Because we voted for better. The whole reason you voted for Trump is because you didn't want to go through high inflation again. You understood we needed to bring down inflation. We needed to raise wages. So think about it like this. Wages are raising by what? Maybe only 3%, but prices are going up by like 20, 30%. And we were on a good trail. We were actually catching up to that before this war. Once this war popped off, all that progress is now being walked back. So I'm sorry, but we voted for better, not more of the same. And once you start seeing more of the same, you should be able to hold Trump accountable for that, not just say, but Biden. I mean, yeah, I know Biden had crazy inflation. That's why we voted him out. That's why we voted for Trump. It's kind of crazy you're willing to sit there and see the same thing that Biden was basically giving us and just sit there and say, oh, but Biden. Bro, we was at 2.4. Any type of walking back on that, you guys should be angry about. But instead, you're sitting here telling us what short-term pain for long-term gain? Really?
Plan of war. There is no plan.
Yeah, that works.
And it is creating chaos in the lives of people. And I think you're going to see this reflected in the way that people show up this election year, this midterm cycle, to express their frustration with Donald Trump.
The president himself seems to be getting frustrated. The Wall Street Journal had a piece about this, as we talked about in the introduction here, and he's distracted. He wants to get back to the ballroom. He at one point mused that he should award himself the nation's highest military honor, the Medal of Honor.
Was it?
I don't know.
Yes.
It was a joke.
Maybe
That's
it
how
was
we
a
do
joke.
things. I mean, come on.
Maybe it was.
All right, that's wild as hell, Trump. You can't walk us into a war that you campaigned on not walking us into, then say, you know what? I think I deserve a Medal of Honor. You know, I did the unthinkable. I had the balls to go against Iran. When no, bro. You were just the guy gullible enough to fall for Bibi Netanyahu's lies, because Israel lobby's been putting racks in your pocket, aka Mariel Edison then put $250 million in your pocket, and now it's you know what? My fellow Israelis will never lead me wrong. And look where we're at, guys.
It's a joke.
Oh, but make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. We got about over 300 y'all in here, man. Do me a favor and double tap that screen. Let's get to 100 likes.
But Trump wants this thing done, and it's not done, and it may not be done. I mean, he did extend the deadline. He extended it probably another day. So it may not be done even with that extended deadline.
That's the biggest disadvantage he has in this negotiation.
He wants a result because he wants the oil prices to go back down. He wants the gas prices to go back down. He wants inflation to go back down. And he doesn't have any control over that. Iran still controls the Strait of Hormuz. So that means he's in a position to make a bad deal. And I don't think he wants to be in that position. But that's the reason why you have decisions that are being made where they're keeping him out of the room because they're afraid he's so mercurial.
No, that's not why. That's not what the reporting said. That's not what the reporting said.
He's concerned. It sounds like he's nervous that whatever comes out of this might be compared to the JCPOA. He's been sending.
But he should be concerned about whether or not we're going to revert back to a plan that wasn't particularly serving this country.
But I guess my point is that
if
he thinks that it's even a close call, that what he might get out of this is substantially similar enough that people might compare it to the thing that he pulled out of. That seems to indicate a state of mind here.
But the Wall Street Journal, this report, made it clear that he's actually really involved and he's been hesitant to make moves that could cost American lives. He's doing the opposite of what we were told by a lot of Democrats early on, that he was impulsive, that he's a warmonger. The reporting suggests completely the opposite.
No, here's the problem. Even Trump understands that, putting boots on the ground is just going to be the end of it. I mean, really, it's going to be the end of his presidency. And no, he hasn't been able to sell it to the American people that, putting boots on the ground is, the best thing to do. And here's the thing. If you guys want to complete y'all goals of regime change and go ahead and get the nuclear enrichment under our control, then boots on the ground, would be our best option. But the problem is, how much will we lose doing that? And is the American people ready to see that, or ready to deal with that, or ready to see the flag draped coffins coming back by the hundreds? Are y'all okay with that? Because that's what some of these people are pushing for. Shoot. Well, then there's Mark Levin talking about, we should nuke them. Randy Fine, we should nuke them. So there's even more extreme, I say people who are a bit more extreme on Iran than just boots on the ground. People even talk about nuking them.
I mean, part of the reason why they wanted to pull him out of the room for some of the conversations on the rescuing of American pilots was because he was eager to get minute by minute updates because he actually wanted to protect an American citizen. That's actually something that we would want from our president, although can it get in the way? Sure, we've all been in positions where maybe we're a little bit too eager for an update from God knows what, but that's the reality.
He thought this war would be over in days. He had no idea.
He said from the beginning.
He had no idea that it was going to be this protracted struggle, and this fight, this gutter fight, this knife fight. He had no idea, and because it is improv, you never know where sometimes it's genius. And other times it's disastrous. What's going to happen in Islamabad if the Iranians say you have to blink first in terms of the Strait of Hormuz? What's going to happen? And there'll be an impasse. What's the president going to say? You're going to wipe out your civilization?
Well, we have the leverage right now over Iran. We don't have to worry about anything beyond right now the politics, which is an important piece of all of this. Well, we have double the amount of air forces right now,
and yet we're still not
around the region.
I mean, we have double the amount of air forces, yet we still can't get the Strait of Hormuz open. We have double the amount of air forces. We have all these big, beautiful boats and the ships in the sea, and we can't get the Strait of Hormuz open. I mean, like I said, I get the military flexing, but it's not really working out for us right now. Like, that's the problem. It's like, it's like we're walking around like a swole guy flexing their muscles, but bro ain't got no work. He can't fight, and we can fight. We definitely can. The problem is that when it comes to opening the Strait of Hormuz, all that doesn't seem to matter. Oh, we have air dominance, destroyed their navy. I mean, we destroyed their navy, but they're still controlling a waterway. Like, how'd that work? Oh, well, they still got their speedboats. So we took out all the big ships. Well, I guess they still got their navy in a way.
Yeah. So you could say that the whole Western of Europe has an advantage over Iran. If you were just talking about the United States muscle compared to Iranian muscle, of course the United States has the muscle.
Then we do have.
It's the question of whether or not you really want to use all that to what? Or you want to blow up the bridges?
When the Strait of Hormuz is slowed down or stopped, does it hurt the United States as much as it hurts Iran economically? That's a big piece of that. That is a very big piece of the leverage that we have. It's not like anything. But I'm sorry, but we do have an economic leverage point over Iran.
We're in that place right now where the Strait of Hormuz is shut down.
It is.
And we will find out exactly how much leverage that gives us, because it's been a minute since the blockade has worked, but Iran is still, we're not at a deal yet. We have
Sure.
not.
Iran
gotten
has
there.
more
We're not at a
cards.
deal yet.
Iran has more cards than the Trump administration was ever willing to admit. And we are the world's greatest military power.
What are the cards? We have one, right?
Let me finish. We are the world's greatest military power, the United States. We have a $1 trillion military budget. We spend more on our defense than the next 10 nations combined. Iran is not even in that list. They're a middle power. And yet after how many days has it been now? 48 days we've been at war with them, and we 51. Still have 51. We still haven't been able to defeat them because they control the Strait of Hormuz. Something that everyone who thought about
that is a critical point. We spend all this money on our military, and yet we spend trillions of dollars. Iran, they barely spend 100 billion, barely. I doubt they even spend that on their military. Yet they're able to, once again, control the Strait of Hormuz and keep us away from there, enrich uranium. They still have the regime in power. They're still able to pull all this off while we have a stronger military. And this is what an asymmetric warfare is them controlling the Strait of Hormuz, knowing that it's hurting the global economy and it's making it harder for us to, carry out our active aggressions on them or carry out war on them. Which people want to say it's a conflict, but let's be real. Donald Trump kind of switches the language up every day. Oh, it's a conflict. Oh, it's a war. We're about to, the war's over. Oh, no way, I can't call it a war because I got to go through Congress.
Everyone who thought about this knew that that was likely to happen, except Donald Trump was so mercurial again that he was willing to rush in without thinking about the consequences.
No, I know that is a piece of the talking point.
No, that's the reality.
But the reality is, from a military perspective, we could, in fact, destroy Iran. We're choosing not to do that because that would be,
because that's genocide.
Exactly
and
my
Trump
point.
is threatening genocide on a regular basis. No, he did so on Easter.
No, Jason, let me let you finish your points.
And one of the main reasons why a lot of people don't want Trump to commit to, bombing the bridges and energy plants is because Iran's going to commit to bombing bridges and energy plants across the Middle East, like in Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Qatar. All of them are going to have their energy infrastructures completely attacked and probably a pipeline severed. And trust me, Iran knows where they're at. They have the capability to do so. They have hypersonic missiles. So if it ever pops off, who's going to stop them?
So we can understand where you're going with that.
Where I'm going is that we had clear military objectives, which we have achieved. We have a greater vulnerability. That's not just for the United States, but for the world, that the Strait of Hormuz has been under the control of Iran. That is not in the best interest of anyone. This right now is making that point. The Strait of Hormuz is supposed to be open for every single country to travel through. And if we're able to...
That was not a military objective. The Strait of Hormuz was open when it started.
So it's not. So...
the Strait of Hormuz was like an added military objective because Iran decided to close it and use it against us, sadly. Oh, guys, make sure you double tapping that screen and liking the video, guys. We're at 72 likes, so let's get about 30 more people to go ahead and double tap that screen and like the video. Well, 28 exactly. But double tap that screen.
Would that not be a win for the globe?
Yes, of course.
Yes, it would be.
But that would also,
that's where we're trying to go.
Be clear, that would be the status quo prior to the war.
Prior to the war, Iran had control of the Strait of Hormuz. It was a different kind of... It was always under threat.
It was always under threat.
The status quo prior to the war was that there was free travel through the Strait.
Yeah, before the war, there's free travel through the Strait of Hormuz. Yes, the Strait of Hormuz composed of Iran and Omanian waters. So yes, the Strait of Hormuz is literally kind of split between Iran and Oman. That's kind of who owns the Strait of Hormuz. So, and Iran controls most of it, and they can shut down all of it because they're a greater military power than the entire Gulf region.
Strait of Hormuz,
except for Israel, of course. Because they got nukes.
But to your point, Iran could have utilized perhaps control over the strait.
That's always the threat. But that's always the threat.
Yeah, but they didn't. But they didn't. So getting us back to where we were on February 28th, that would be sort of like the minimum baseline consequence of this.